Hello and welcome to our Hangout on Air. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club, and we're on the web at the loaclub.com. These Hangouts are a collaboration with our friends Tara. This Hangout is the summary of our theme for the week and continues on our member conference line. Today's topic is, there's a purpose to your life and there's a power to knowing what it is. You can get invites to our open calls, which we offer periodically, and our powerful free letting go process by going to the loaclub.com. So now we're going to begin, and so we're going to welcome Robin, who will be bringing through Tara.
Welcome back to our discussions. And this week we seek to continue our explorations on the essential nature of everything. Last week we looked at the nature of time and saw that time was just one of your inventions and that there's nothing absolute about it because it's just an artifact of the virtual reality game you call life on Earth. Because you're so wrapped up in this game, you've become ultra familiar with time as an always present fact of life. And that makes it difficult to imagine no time. So when you think about what exists beyond physicalness, about what's going to happen, for example, when you transition, you use words like everlasting or eternal as approximations of time-less-ness. Physicalness, of course, is a time and space virtual reality. And so right along with no time comes no space and no place, and no shapes and no beginnings and ends, no borders and no boundaries. So when, for example, you transition, you won't timelessly exist as something like the image of God in the sense of a recognizable physical shape. Then, as now, and timelessly, of course, you will create whatever you choose to create. But at your essence, you exist in the image of God as a beingness, because, of course, you're a part of God. You're simply an extension of the pure energy of that source. The essence of everybody and everything exists as a thought, as an awareness or a consciousness. That's all there is. And that collectively is all that is, the source from which everything flows. You individuate yourself out of that all that isness by your desires and choices. All of you sentient beings are source, experiencing different aspects of itself. And each of you has evolved through a billion new choices and new creations until here you are. Here's some good words from Abraham on the purpose of your life. Sometimes physical beings want to make it sound like before they got here, someone else decided who they were supposed to be and what they should get done when they got here. And none of that is the case. It's the believing that you should find your purpose and go directly to it and then live happily ever after with it that is the flawed premise. Joyous expansion is why you came. You didn't come to fix anything. You didn't come to learn anything because it needs to be learned. You came for the exposure of life, to life, for the delicious way it feels in that expansion, because to have something pop open like an idea, and then to make your way to it to give birth to it, and then to realize it. That's the purpose of life. For as long as you're confused about why you're here, for as long as and for as much as you see it as dealing with the trappings of your creation, dealing with that world out there or those people out there, you are going to be a little off course from finding your power. And if your reaction to that is that you are not seeking power, we say, oh yes, you are. Or rather, you're seeking to be in the flow of creation, which means stepping into the role you came here to play. By law of attraction, you can have, be, or do anything. So let's not mince words here. That's power. And if that word feels a little uncomfortable to you, that discomfort is exactly what we want to discuss here today. If you see yourself as living in a one-version world, a world you share with everyone else and have to deal with, then you probably equate power with being in a position of power in that physical world. And you may be thinking you have no desire to be in one of those positions or to be like the people that are in them. But you are not in a one-version world. From an infinite range of possibilities, moment by moment, you are choosing which version of the world to inhabit. And that's the point. You already have the power. This discussion is all about recognizing it and consciously exercising it. By what you have chosen to believe in that past of yours, you've created a tapestry of expectations which forms the blueprint for your context, the world that wraps itself around you. This blueprint resides mostly in what we will loosely call your subconscious. As you made belief choices, you stored those beliefs away and mostly forgot about them. So you've got this tapestry with every belief choice you've ever made, countless millions of them. And if it's this tapestry and nothing else that determines everything you experience, can you see why it's important to explore that subconscious of yours, to rediscover those choices you made, to find those which are no longer serving you, and by making new choices to change your world? This is what you came here to do. Every other purpose you might choose to adopt is secondary to that, because you chose this space-time world to experience the joy of creating new things in it. And that's how you do it. All of you, without exception, are, at your core, seeking to create new and wonderful things, seeking more joy, more love, more peace, or more adventure. It is possible that you have buried the spark of new desires so deep within you that you can claim to have no such desires, or that you feel you have plateaued and there is no need for anything beyond. But change is an inherent part of who you are, and it takes only a whiff of a new possibility to rekindle that spark. So now the key question becomes, how can you choose new beliefs when everything around you supports those old beliefs you chose? We suggested a great place to start is to recognize and acknowledge to yourself, as we have been describing, that you don't discover how things are. You create how things are. At first, this might seem counterintuitive, but nothing exists in your world except that which you believe is there. or is possibly there. As we discussed last week, if you read somewhere that studies have shown or scientific tests have shown, and you choose to believe what you read, then you have now created a version of your world with more detail to it. But until you made that choice, that detail didn't exist. And you will not read that tomorrow the sun will rise in the west if you have chosen to believe, that that's impossible. We know that all of this may be upside down from the way you are used to seeing things. But if this is starting to make sense to you and you can get your mind around it, then consciously you now know the way it works. Of course, most of your interactions are programmed at the subconscious level. So how do you get that conscious intellectual understanding to become a part of the fabric of your being, to be within you, ongoing and ever present? Well, you use the same mechanism to put that tapestry together in the first place. You practice those new beliefs, that new way of seeing the world, until it becomes a part of you. Practice being present with who you are now, and now, and now. You will never be anywhere else but here and now. It's always going to be here, wherever that may be. It's always going to be now. So be here and now, consciously. See who and what you are, here and now. Accept yourself as you are, here and now. Examine your tapestry, devoid of the need for it to be different. Be you right now, not someone else. Be here right now, not somewhere else. By embracing yourself here and now, as you are here and now, you become sufficiently at one with yourself, at peace with yourself, in love with yourself, to start the journey to being someone else and somewhere else. Remember this basic fact of life. There's nothing about you that is true except the absolutes. You're a part of the collective consciousness of all that is, and you're creating yourself and your world by your choices. Everything else is a belief you have put in your tapestry. Think about that. Acknowledge that to yourself. And here's the kicker. As you practice that thought, you are actively enrolling that hugely powerful subconscious of yours to help you in this exercise rather than hinder you. There is no more important task your subconscious can possibly help you with than this. This is the whole point to your life. This is the main tent. Everything else is a sideshow. When you change a belief, you step into a new version of you. You're literally a different person. So we encourage those steps. We encourage you to get in touch with those beliefs. Examine them as if they were the building blocks of your life, because that's exactly what they are. Decide with each whether or not it serves you and whether you will change it. You're not here because something external to you decided you should be. You're not here to serve God or serve anybody. You're here to experience your power, by which we mean feel the joy of having your hands in the clay of all that is, and having new desires flow into new creations. Find thinking processes that work for you. Take some of the processes that we have played with in this community. Make them your own. Make them a habit in your life. If you must be addicted to anything, be addicted to new habits of thinking and creating new and wondrous things. Expect to be surprised and delighted with what each new day can bring you. And if you step in a hole, no big deal. Don't beat up on yourself because nothing is wrong. Just stop digging. Take advantage of this community as one sure place where you can think like this and speak the truth of who you are. Remember also that we're inside you and we're always there for you. All you have to do is simply raise your hand. From the Abraham quote for today: you are meant to succeed, and failure should feel bad to you. Life is supposed to go well for you, and when it does not, there is something wrong. But what is wrong is not something that's outside of you, over which you have no control. What is wrong is within you, and you do have control. And taking control is not difficult to do once you understand the basis of who you are and the basics of the law of attraction and the value of your personal emotional guidance system. Today, of course, we've been talking about that basis, and we'll close with these words. Shrink not from the idea that you are a powerful creator. To change or not to change, to create what you choose to create, is the whole purpose of this game of yours. It is why you exist. And as you choose to see things from that perspective, you step more and more consciously, you step more and more surely into exercising the power that is your birthright. And that's when the fun really starts.
This Hangout on Air was the summary of our theme for the week. We do 3 live calls a week with Q&A for our members on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday. You can become a member by going to the loaclub.com/join. Our longer discussion continues now with Q&A on our member conference line. So back over to